shutting down government never is a successful strategy.
The shutdown is over, but Kansas continues to feel the impact. From travel delays to high demand at food banks. What's next as people across America try to return to normal? Plus,
anything that's going to be full or broad spectrum is going to be legal.
A THC ban in the spending deal is putting Kansas' hemp market at risk. Which products are on the chopping block and how soon you could see them pulled from shelves. And later on.
It's my job to course correct this all.
We hear from the next leader of the state's capital city on some of the biggest issues voters are facing. And we're breaking down how a local elections nationwide could impact future races. But first this morning, the government reopening after the longest shutdown in history. You're taking a look inside Kansas politics. Welcome in. I'm Rebecca Chung.
I'm Rob Hughes. Glad you're here. It is, of course, a sign of relief for people who rely on federal jobs and programs. Well, inside Kansas politics reporter Grace Gom explains what's back and what's still at risk.
When the government soon reopens, federal workers will be back on the job, and programs like SNAP, which provides food assistance to low-income families, will once again be fully funded.
Getting those services back will take some time. Getting those employees back in the federal government will take some time. There is some payments for federal benefits, such as money for people who qualify to get food, that are being held up in a number of states.
Kansas already distributed full SNAP benefits to families for this month, in the middle of a lengthy legal battle between several states and the Trump administration. But next month should be a breeze. As the shutdown comes to an end, lawmakers in D.C. are already turning to their next battle: debates over health care tax credits that help working families afford health insurance. According to the Kansas Health Institute, around 170,000 Kansans could see their bills rise.
We recommend go on to the marketplace and look now. We're in open enrollment right now, so they can go on and look at their plan and change plans if they want. Definitely go online and look now so that you know what the cost of it will be without the tax credits.
Kennett says many of those same Kansans who rely on SNAP also use tax credits to pay for health coverage, so losing them could wipe out some of the relief they're just now getting back.
All right, and we're bringing in political science professor and author Michael Smith now. And Michael, those tax credits were really the sticking point of this shutdown. Democrats wanting to extend health care tax credits, but Republicans wanting to look at other options to lower health care costs. If a plan does not come through, what's at stake if Republicans choose to side with Democrats and if they choose to let those tax credits expire?
Well, the tax credits are part of the Affordable Care Act, which was often called Obamacare in the past, but usually people call it the ACA today. And what they do is help people that don't have insurance from other sources, such as an employer. Maybe they work for a small business or are self-employed. They don't qualify for Medicaid. They help fill that gap. There was a story on the radio just today, a woman in Missouri, her premiums could go up by $1,000 a month to treat her breast cancer. If those premium subsidies don't come through. The Affordable Care Act is extremely complicated, but it's a variety of different strategies to get more Americans insured, and it has worked. But those subsidies for people that don't get health insurance through their employers are a key part of it, and that's what the sticking point was.
Yeah, and of course, Michael, we've definitely seen the impact of this. If you've traveled lately with delayed flights, some people going to food banks for the first time, very, very long lines. I would imagine people are not happy about this. It's impacting their ability to put food on the table. So how can this shift voter perception, do you feel, moving forward? Are people going to vote, and are they not going to vote at all? Are they going to vote even more because of this?
That's a good question. It's a really interesting thing. I remember the shutdowns during the Clinton-Obama administrations. They were much shorter. One thing that really struck me about this shutdown, besides being longer, is the fact that the media coverage shifted from the government employees not getting a paycheck to how it disrupts all of us, including those of us that do not work for the government, when air traffic control is interrupted, when people don't get their SNAP benefits and the ACA subsidies, if those are allowed to run out. So we're shifting the conversation to the fact that we all depend on government services as part of our way of life. It's not just the government employees who are affected. And so the answer to your question is largely, how much of an issue will that be in the upcoming elections? And I think it will be.
All right, and as the government shutdown comes to an end, one Kansas senator hopes it doesn't happen again. Republican Jerry Moran says while he's glad to see it end, he's disappointed it happened. Moran doesn't believe keeping the government open should be used as leverage and doesn't pay off when lawmakers take that gambit.
I think shutting down government never is a successful strategy. Everybody has things they want to accomplish, but to use shutting down government as leverage to get them, I've never seen a good result come from that, and it does so much damage to so many people. Every county, city, every school board in Kansas does a budget and functions every year, and the federal government, the Congress, and the president ought to be able to do that.
Now, Moran says people are harmed when the government can't function, even if people are on board with shutting down the government, and some were.
And of course, Michael, this isn't the first shutdown we've seen, like you mentioned, but it is the longest. Yes. And so we certainly know that this is not something that voters are going to want to see again. What do you think? What do you think? How is this going to change people getting involved in politics, caring, voting? How is this going to change perception moving forward?
Some of the populations most affected, such as SNAP recipients, have low voter turnout rates. And really hitting home that it's not a given that those benefits will always be there could mobilize that population. Again, I think it's really interesting how we talked more about how we all rely on government services this time instead of just government employees aren't getting their paychecks. There are also some interesting visuals. Trump having a party to raise money for a ballroom when SNAP benefits are expiring. You know Democrats are already cutting campaign spots. And of course the Republicans will blame the Democrats for the shutdown because the Democrats didn't want to budge on this health care subsidy thing. And so it won't help with the fact that voters are mad at both parties because they feel like government isn't functioning. But it does create a lane for anyone that can say, basic bread and butter benefits like SNAP benefits and air traffic control are important. Enough with the anti-government rhetoric. Let's just admit that government does a lot of important things and we should probably keep it open.
All right, Michael, thank you so much. After the break, lawmakers in D.C. are cracking down on THC, banning popular products from stores. How the deal to reopen the government could have a major impact on hemp markets across the U.S. and in Kansas.
Still ahead, could the outcome of local elections in major cities across the U.S. impact the fight for control of Congress? Our experts are weighing in. Be right back. You're watching Inside Kansas Politics.
Attention women veterans. Do you want free help applying for VA healthcare and veterans benefits you earned? The Kansas Office of Veteran Services has women representatives on site ready to assist you. Help is just a click away. Contact the Kansas Office of Veteran Services.
When your cleaning project gives you trouble,
it's time to knock out dirt and grime, curb appeal style. Residential and commercial jobs too.
Curb Appeal Power Wash, knocking out dirt and grime like Topeka's own John Cantrell.
Call today and get 10% off any one service.
Know a teacher who's going above and beyond? 27 News and Noller Ford want to honor them. Nominate your favorite educator for Teacher of the Month and let us celebrate their dedication. Teacher of the Month, sponsored by 27 News and Noller Ford.
It's not just Black Friday, it's the Faith Furniture and Mattress Black Friday Savings Event, and it's bigger than ever. Save up to 60% on living room, bedroom, and dining sets. Wall Hugger Recliner, just $299. Rocker Recliner, $399. Super Comfy Sofa, $499. 6-piece bedroom set, a steal at $799. Firm Queen Mattress, only $349. The Black Friday savings are going on now. Shop early for best selection, styles you love, prices you won't believe. This Black Friday, you just gotta have faith.
She's the teacher who stays late to help one more student. The neighbor who creates a big change from just a small idea. Every day, remarkable women lead, inspire, and change lives in our community. We want your help to recognize her impact.
Go to ksnt.com/remarkable women to nominate a remarkable woman by December 19th. Presented locally by Sharp Honda, Topeka ER and Hospital, and Washburn University.
Attention women veterans. Do you want free help applying for VA healthcare and veterans benefits you earned? The Kansas Office of Veteran Services has women representatives on site ready to assist you. Help is just a click away. Contact the Kansas Office of Veteran Services.
Welcome back to Inside Kansas Politics. The fight continues over THC products in Kansas. A so-called hemp ban now making into the deal to end the government shutdown.
Well, it's putting CBD shop owners on edge. I spoke with one who says the move could wipe out most of his store. Trevor Burdett owns several CBD shops across Kansas.
We actually started selling broad spec items that have trace amounts of THC.
Selling everything from THC drinks. This one is 100 milligrams of Delta-9 THC to candies.
Different gummies.
But all of that could soon be gone.
Anything that's going to be full or broad spectrum is going to be illegal.
Lawmakers in D.C. are deciding to close the loophole in the 2018 Farm Bill and cap the limit on hemp-derived THC products at 0.4 milligrams.
It's not just total THC, it's what they consider any psychoactive cannabinoid. So right now, the big ones everyone's looking at is Delta-8, Delta-9, Delta-10. THCA is a big one that people are selling nowadays.
That would essentially whittle his store down to selling just the products left on this wall.
These are made with CBD isolate, which is going to be the only thing that we'd actually be able to use to manufacture any of our products.
Confusion over THC products in Kansas started back in August. The KBI cracking down on THC-infused drinks sold in stores. Even though some of them contain 100 milligrams of THC, it's still well below the current legal limit of 0.3%. But law enforcement says that rule is being exploited. 39 state attorneys general sending out this letter in October. They claim the federal rule is leading to shops selling unregulated products with, quote, intoxicating amounts of THC. Do you agree that there should be limits on how these products are regulated, given how much milligrams of THC are in them?
Yeah, consumers need to know what's in them. They need to know how these products are going to interact with their body. There's a lot of public health education that has to go into play when we regulate products, and that has not happened in Kansas, unfortunately. We just have a one-size-fits-all, no, you can't have this, and that doesn't really serve the greater good of public health and trying to educate consumers about what may or may not be best for them.
Still, industry advocates say changing the rule could put a strain on the hemp industry. Burdett says he's been in calls with lawmakers in D.C. asking about next steps, and right now, they're preparing for the worst.
So customers, obviously, you get two different people. You get some people that are following it and others that aren't even aware. So we're trying to inform as many people as possible so we can try to get maybe some extra, emails or letters to legislators to try to push back on it.
The bill in D.C. to cap the limit at 0.4 milligrams THC has a one-year grace period before it's enforced to give people some time to get ready for the new restrictions. Reporting from the Kansas State Capitol, I'm Rebecca Chung. Back with Michael Smith now. And Michael, this could potentially lead to layoffs, billions in lost revenue. What can we expect within the next year, not just from store owners, but for farmers as well?
Well, that's an excellent question. One thing about states that have legalized marijuana is that it means that you can grow it. Now, critics of that, like Ty Masterson, would argue that also allows illicit activity because, hey, cannabis looks like cannabis. You can't tell if it's being grown for legal or illegal purposes. And that's one of his arguments about why he's anti-legalization, is that it creates a cover for illegal activities. But at the same time, you are absolutely right. Kansas has excellent soil and climate for growing cannabis, and it's a booming industry. Nationally, internationally, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, talking about the legal uses of it. And another thing I wanted to mention is that this debate about the trace amounts of different things in the cannabis products. It's illegal in Kansas, but there's you can have trace amounts. I'm old enough to remember 3-2 beer, and this is really like the 3-2 beer of our time. This idea that, well, there's only trace amounts of it in there, you can't get high off of it. I don't know how much you would need to get a buzz, but that argument that if there are trace amounts, it's not enough to get intoxicated, really, for anybody that's been around Kansas for 50 years or so, that brings back a lot of memories.
And Michael, it's such a heavily regulated industry, the hemp industry. I mean, you got raids and of course all the concerns you were talking to these owners about. So do they have a voice in D.C., the hemp industry, Michael? I mean, how can they fight this? What can they do?
They do, particularly because, again, they can openly now lobby. There used to be small groups that wanted it legalized, but they didn't have a lot of clout. Now it's perfectly legal in many states. It's technically not legal under federal law. That's a whole other thing. But they can just hire lobbyists. They can use some of their profits to hire lobbyists and grow their clout quite a bit. And let's not forget all of the people that say that medical uses of cannabis have helped them. in my opinion, they have made some of the most effective arguments of all, and especially in this day and age when we have a Secretary of Health and Human Services that's openly critical of the pharmaceutical industry. This argument, hey, give us a workaround. The prescription stuff hasn't worked for us, I think is one of their stronger arguments.
Okay. So likely that they could potentially reverse some of this?
I think they will definitely fight for it. I think that you have a sort of liberal libertarian coalition, sometimes called libertarian. You know, you've got the one view that, hey, it's none of government's business, it's my body. And then you've got the other view saying this is very progressive. You know, the war on drugs failed in many ways. And I would think you could put together the votes. You know, in Kansas, the big block on any kind of movement is the leadership in the House and the Senate. So a lot of this is going to come down to leadership at the congressional level. Will they allow a vote? If they allow a vote, I could see some of this being relaxed, but you have to have the vote first.
All right, Michael, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Michael. When we come back, we are hearing from Spencer Duncan, the capital city's next mayor.
Where he stands on everything from marijuana to housing. We'll be right back. You're watching Inside Kansas Politics.
The Holton Weathercam is sponsored by Ellis Boys, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram.
Busy parents have a lot to remember. You have to remember your kids don't eat crusts, pack healthy snacks, and leave the house on time. But you don't have to worry about the shades. They'll close themselves. Request a free consultation today.
Grace Med Health Clinic is your home for complete compassionate care. From medical visits to vision screenings, dental care, behavioral health support, and a fully equipped pharmacy, we're here to meet all your health needs. Our dedicated team of providers and staff work together to make every visit welcoming and stress-free. Because at Grace Med, you're not just a patient, you're part of our family. Call 785-861-8800 to schedule your appointment. Grace Med Health Clinic, compassionate care for all.
Monday, Jenny Slate
on an all-new Kelly.
Plus the cast of The Paper. So I heard y'all snuck into the Universal theme park. Is this true?
Yeah, absolutely.
Monday at 3 on 27 KSNT.
It's the 38th year for Casa of Shawnee County's Homes for the Holidays Tour, November 22nd and 23rd, featuring 5 Topeka homes beautifully decorated by local designers. All money raised supports Casa of Shawnee County. Get your tickets today for Homes for the Holidays.
SLI is dedicated to promoting the success, learning, and inclusion of individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. By supporting our mission, you can make an impact and help create opportunities that transform lives. Visit slitopeka.org to donate today.
Start your Friday with a donut. Fox 43 AM Live and Higher Grounds Coffee House and Deli are giving away donuts every week to a lucky business. We'll draw a winner on Wednesday and deliver the treats on Friday. Sign up your business today. Sponsored by Higher Grounds Coffee House and Deli.
For the best coverage of high school football in Northeast Kansas, watch the Football Frenzy, Friday nights on 27 News at 10 on KSNT.
Welcome back to Inside Kansas Politics. This morning, we're hearing from Topeka's next mayor.
Yeah, Spencer Duncan won last week in a landslide victory, and for the first time, he's weighing in on some of the biggest issues he'll have to tackle in his new role.
I sat down with him in an exclusive interview. Spencer Duncan is looking ahead to 2026 as he gets ready to stake his claim as Topeka's next mayor.
I am the conduit, and if what I'm hearing in the community is not aligning with what I think the council and the staff are doing, it's my job to course correct this all.
Duncan has spent 7 years on the city council, but now he's hoping to do even more in his new role, tackling issues like public safety, property taxes, and housing. Housing supply and affordability of housing has been two concerns for voters here in Topeka. How would you address maybe housing development?
We have to come up with incentives for those developers and reduce fees, like maybe not charge them for the water meter, which is $3,000, and not charge them for permitting, to reduce all of those costs so they'll build with infill. That's how we get more affordable housing.
And Hotel Topeka continues to be a hot topic in the capital city. The city now inching closer to officially having a buyer. Topeka's on track to lose more than $1 million running the hotel this year. And leaders say the sale is also contingent on the county committing to help with renovations.
And they are absolutely doing their part. They are very committed to getting Manor back up to speed. because each of them will tell you the same thing we will tell you. The capital city cannot be without a conference center. And so they've just been waiting to work with the buyer, because if you do all that renovations at one time, saves everybody money, especially the taxpayer if they're helping to pay for some of those major renovations.
I know originally the hotel was bought for $8 million, now about $10 million going back into it. Do you think it's worth the investment?
We've put about a total of about $12.5 million into it.
So more.
Total.
Yeah.
Total. That's total. That includes
okay.
the purchase price. So it is worth it, because we're not only going to sell it and get it off the tax rolls, right, for us, we're going to bring business back to the capital city.
The city has also been racked with gender discrimination lawsuits in both the Topeka Fire and police departments. Just last month, the city having to pay out nearly $300,000 to settle a case where a former firefighter claimed she was passed up for promotions in favor of less qualified men. Are you surprised by the amount of these lawsuits that we're seeing, and how would you address this issue in your role as mayor?
Yeah, so yes and no. I mean, we have 1,100 employees, so when you're that big of an organization, it is not uncommon to have a number of lawsuits. But every one I take very seriously, and the first questions I ask is, besides the legal issues, is, did we make a mistake? Where was the failure within the internal system? And if there was a failure, are we correcting it? And that's the role of the mayor, is to make sure that if there was a breakdown or a real problem, it's being addressed and not just glossed over and then dealt with in the courts.
And on the topic of marijuana, I asked Duncan if Topeka could move toward decriminalization. Kansas is one of the few remaining states where weed is illegal, even for medical use. The KBI and Attorney General now cracking down on enforcement, raiding a slew of CBD shops across the state over the last month. But in 2022, Wichita City Council voted to decriminalize marijuana possession. And in Lawrence, the fine is just $1 if you're caught with 32 grams or less for a first or second offense. Would you support a similar decriminalization effort here in Topeka, and what would that look like?
I do. I don't know exactly what it would look like. I've looked at some of those. Some of those have worked, some of those haven't. Lawrence seems to have done a pretty good job with it. So I think we just need to look at the cities that have worked and just, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Steal what they're doing and apply it. For people, it's no secret, before I got to my current job with the League of Municipalities, I advocated for medical marijuana in the state of Kansas. I'm still a believer in that, and I think it's something we need to head towards. So yeah, I'm a believer in looking at some of those decriminalization laws.
He says it's still something to discuss with the city council, and he could potentially bring it up in the first half of next year. Reporting in Topeka, I'm Rebecca Chung.
All right, Michael Smith back with us now. And Michael, of course, we know Democrats did very well in the most recent election. We mentioned earlier in the show, we're already starting to see some of the fundraising emails go around. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Now, how else could it impact next year's election?
Well, it's funny because the Democratic Party label is extremely unpopular among the American people right now. It's polling very, very poorly, but Democratic candidates are doing fine. It's almost as if they're all following the Laura Kelly model. Don't talk about your party. Just run as you in Virginia, in New Jersey, and other places. Forget the party, just run as you. And we were talking earlier about what we sometimes call bread and butter issues, putting food on the table, health care. But not culture war stuff, but just basic stuff we need to survive. Even air travel is important for some people because their jobs require it. And Democrats not being as much of an anti-government party, more willing to say, look, we pay taxes, we need government services. They have a lane open, but they also have a weight hanging on them, which is that the American people disapprove of the Democratic Party itself, even if they like individuals that are running for office as Democrats.
How would you say the outcome of local elections here compared to what we see nationwide?
I think Kansas didn't have any high-profile races. Kansas doesn't, for example, elect the governor in an off-year election like this. Only the two states do. But the races we've seen, they looked pretty good for progressives. They did well in Wichita, for example. Even in Eureka, Kansas, elected a Democrat to the city commission, and hyper-red state America. The one that I was really watching was Prairie Village, which is a small suburb in Johnson County, where there was a major revolt against the mayor's attempt to build more affordable housing. Classic suburban, not in my backyard politics. It's called NIMBY. You know, I know we need affordable housing, but not in our suburban community. Build it somewhere else. And there was even an attempt to rewrite the city charter to weaken the power of the mayor and get rid of this affordable housing. It failed. The pro-affordable housing, strong mayor, and also building a new civic center coalition won rather handily. And that's fascinating because Prairie Village is a great example of a suburb that in the past you would expect this NIMBY politics, you know, I don't want that in my neighborhood, to prevail easily. So things are changing, and they are changing in some ways that are favorable to those with a more progressive agenda.
All right.
Can I push back real quick on something? Now, as you know, municipal elections are supposed to be nonpartisan. We've been seeing a lot of messaging from the Democratic Party that it's pretty obvious which candidates won.
Yes.
Do you recommend they continue that tactic to be aggressive and quantify really their victories and try and get people on board to donate and join the party, perhaps?
I don't think there's any stopping it. Nonpartisan elections make a lot of sense on paper because there's no Democratic or Republican way to fix a pothole or repair a street light or treat the sewage before it's discharged in the river. These things shouldn't be partisan. That's also why we have city manager governments. Why would you make that partisan? We just need it done well. But the problem is that we're so divided by party, and the thing about party labels is they do provide a cue to voters who might otherwise not know the names of who they're voting for. So there's also an argument for parties because they give some clues to voters, because if we're being honest, most voters haven't the slightest clue who represents them on the city commissioner and the state legislature. So at least this way, this gives them some cues, and it probably does boost voter turnout, but at the cost of that nonpartisan good government model that says, I don't care about party, just do your job.
All right, thank you so much. Coming up, we're hearing from voters like you.
Yeah, well, Michael's got some key takeaways from the latest Kansas Speaks poll after the break. We'll be right back. You're watching Inside Kansas Politics.
I did know that back pain, foot pain come along with the job of waiting tables.
This is Tony.
Things that I've tried have failed.
And this is Tony's Good Feet story.
Before my arch supports, I felt defeated, but since getting the arch supports from the Good Feet store, I have had no pain, which still is kind of crazy to me. I'm more positive. It's like opening up a whole new life, like sunshine coming out. I would recommend it to anyone. You've tried everything that's not working, give it a try.
See how we can help you too at the Good Feet store.
27 News and Nolar Ford are honoring Kansas teachers for their outstanding work.
Thank you!
Congratulations, Miss Kell, this month's honoree. If you love sports, we've got sports. KU and K-State sports every week on K-Nation.
Who are some of the guys that have kind of flown under the radar?
Highlights, scores, interviews, you name it, we've got it.
A new era of KU football. How's it going?
Whether you cheer for the Wildcats or the Jayhawks, you'll love the coverage we bring you every single week.
Join us every Sunday after 27 News at 10
for another exciting week of K-Nation.
When everything's on the line, real heroes rise to the occasion. Or die trying.
We're firefighters. We're gonna find a way to get you out of here.
We take the hits together.
We're on the same team. I'm right here with you, no matter what.
I would never leave you hanging in the deep end.
This place is a way of giving you new family.
Sundays at 11:30 on 27 KSNT.
My friends told me to stop telling Thanksgiving jokes, but I couldn't quit cold turkey.
Next live, we have a Thanksgiving dinner survival guide, plus Megan Trainor.
Monday at 11 on 27 KSNT.
Spend your days with all-new Kelly. You know you want to.
Weekdays at 3.
Welcome back to Inside Kansas Politics. Finally this morning, we're getting a look at how voters feel about next year's race for governor.
Yeah, Michael Smith here with us now. And Michael, Fort Hays State released their fall Kansas Speaks poll. What's it saying about the candidates?
Well, they vary in terms of name recognition. I think probably the biggest takeaway is that they don't have very good name recognition. Even somebody like Jeff Collier, who actually was governor for a few years, he took over the balance of Brownback's second term. He is one of the better recognized names, to be fair. But it's not as high as you would think it would be. And so the field is fairly open. Someone like Ty Masterson, those of us that follow Kansas politics, we throw his name around all the time. But the average Kansan isn't following the Kansas legislature. And his name's not, and the ones on the Democratic side are not super high either. Like say Collier, I think, is the highest. And so the upshot of this is neither candidate has really defined themselves for most Kansans yet. Now, they maybe have for reporters who cover them, but for the average Kansan, it's still kind of an open field. There's a lot left to see in terms of how they choose to set themselves up to the voter.
All right, Michael, a lot of great takeaways there. Thank you so much. And that was your look inside Kansas politics. We'll see you next Sunday, same time, same place.
Have a wonderful day.